ETF fans, and welcome to another edition of our Portfolio Visualizer series, where we go under the hood of popular ETFs to see what companies make up these strategies, how they're positioned relative to other strategies, what other strategies are out there that look like it. And today we're going to focus on Dan Ives' new portfolio. IVES is the ticker, to get a sense of what type of companies he's holding, what does it look like relative to major benchmarks, what are its closest competitors based on underlying overlap of securities, as well as focusing on a couple data points of the securities within the portfolio currently as of last night. So to do that, let's waste no time. We're just going to hop into our member access side of the platform here. The quickest way to get into an ETF is to go to our databases, ETFs, and just type the ticker right into the ticker bar. So I'm going to type in IVES, and I can see I've pulled it up. Now, to kind of our first thing we want to look at is, what does this portfolio look like relative to other large cap tech or large growth types portfolios? So I'm going to put in IVES, NASDAQ via Qs, technology sector XLK. Maybe I'll type in IWF for large cap growth and just hit return. Now I've populated all four of those strategies into here. What I'm going to do is first and foremost just do a quick overlap analysis. So I selected all those portfolios, going to go to my little overlap tool here. And what we're going to find is that, as you'd expect, there's a fair amount of overlap, but not ridiculous. 14 names, 42% in common with QQQ, 20 names, 41% in common with IWF, 13 names, 41% with XLK. And if I scroll down here, undoubtedly we're going to see the big names, right? NVIDIA is held in all of those at varying weights, right? So we can see actually NVIDIA, Dan is currently underweight relative to those big beta market cap weighted strategies. Also underweight Microsoft. He's under, I can go through and really get a sense of how he's positioned in that portfolio, or I could switch this around and just focus in on strategies that he might hold that others don't. So it's a great tool to kind of visualize, hey, how different is this to low-cost beta strategies that are in the market? Clearly, there is some differences. So let's get into what those might be. I'm going to click on the IVES ticker here. It's going to open up my research frames. And the next step in my analysis is to look at what are the most in common ETFs. So I'm going to use our Fund Comps tool. I just clicked on that Fund Comps. It instantly loaded the 50 ETFs that have the most in common of the underlying holdings of all ETFs in the marketplace. And I can see when I look at this, Global X Artificial Intelligence has the highest overlap with 25 common names and 54%. XNTK is right there with 54%, 19 names. So it's a great way to get to know the portfolio in terms of what is the competitive landscape on an actual look-through basis. But to get to the main event, I'm going to scroll back over to my ETFs database. I'm still on the research frame here. And let's get to the title name of the series, the Portfolio Visualizer, which is going to give us a look through into every single company. So I can see there's 30 stocks currently held in this portfolio, weighted average market cap of 1.2 trillion, but a pretty big range here. We've got some small cap name of 1.8 billion is the smallest holding, all the way up to 4.3 trillion, which of course is going to be NVIDIA. My heat map is currently displaying yesterday's returns, so it's just a great way to see what happened yesterday. But I can switch this data point to pretty much anything you can imagine in terms of different time period performance of the underlying securities, things of that nature. But what I like to do when I look at disruptive tech or any of these high growth thematic strategies is get a sense of how speculative are these portfolios. Where are they going in terms of, are these companies profitable? So I like to start with net income. That'll be the focus today. So I just switched my heat map here to net income. And now I'm seeing, some big dark green boxes of companies that are making a lot of net income. Obviously the Mag 7, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, Meta. But we also see the more speculative side. And when you're looking at a portfolio, based on all the analysis we've already done, overlap relative to the big beta strategies in this, in this environment, looking at what other ETFs have high overlap with it. Really what's going to make the difference in relative returns is looking at where the portfolio is overweight on some of these other names. And here's where we can see, where Dan is making a focus call on certain companies that, over the last year, they had negative cash flow, right? Their net income was negative. They may be growing really quickly, but as I go through here, I can see CyberArk or Zscaler or MongoDB or SoundHound, different firms that are pretty big weightings relative to the broad indexes in this portfolio, and probably will be the driver ultimately of whether it's successful on a relative return basis on the long term. And the portfolio visualizer just gives you a great way to do that. Of course, you can close the visualizer and go through the analysis one by one on every company using all of our look-through data powered by our licenses with FactSet. But just wanted to kind of highlight that tool, highlight this popular ETF that's already got $500 million in AUM. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Drop us a line if you have any questions, team at ETF Action. And of course, if you don't already have an account, we encourage you to create an account from our homepage just simply by clicking on the member access button. If you don't have an account, it'll lead you through to how to create a free account and start exploring some of these powerful tools. Thanks for watching today, and look forward to seeing you on the next Portfolio Visualizer series. Thanks.